So for the last few days, I've been testing the heck out of the Ecoworthy server rack battery. This thing's around $800 and a lot of people are buying it right now and they like it. But I did not pull full capacity on the first test. And then I tested again and I still couldn't hit that 100 amp hours. But then I saw that one of the forum members took the cells to their absolute limit and they pulled over 120 amp hours. Next, I noticed that most of these batteries have unbalanced cells, but even then you should pull full capacity. It's not that bad. And then even when they did balance their cells, they would get 99 to 101 amp hours. Even though technically, if you go by voltage alone, these should pull even more than that. So I was really confused and I started testing everything. But first I thought maybe it's unbalanced, let's try to balance it. And I already tried that before and I failed, but I kept trying. So what I did is I cycled it over and over again and eventually I pulled 102 amp hours. And I was like, that's great, let's keep going. The cells are getting balanced, let's try to pull more capacity. And then after that, I got 101 amp hours. So it was hovering right around there. So then I started wondering, is it using the voltage or does it have a coulometer built into the BMS? And what always confused me is the variance, because sometimes I'd pull 104, sometimes I'd pull 99 amp hours. I was trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm thinking sometimes it's using voltage for the cutoff, and then sometimes it's using state of charge with the coulometer instead. So I thought to myself, if this guy's pulling over 120 amp hours if he's doing voltage alone, and these cells are balanced good enough to get full capacity, let's do a capacity test with a higher discharge rate, which should in theory give us a little under its rated capacity. Unless the cells have more capacity, then instead the cycle will be cut off by the coulometer by the state of charge. So I did a discharge test with 60 amps continuous. All the other capacity tests were 3, 5, or 20. So in theory, at this higher rate, we should get less capacity, but guess what I got? I got 101 amp hours. So regardless of the rate, I was still getting 99 to 102 amp hours every single time. If I did that with a lead time battery or something, I would have decreased capacity, but this has more capacity available to it, but it disconnects at a certain state of charge, which it determines through its coulometer or an onboard shunt. It's a power resistor, you measure the voltage drop across it, and with that method of measurement and resetting after every cycle, you're gonna get around the same results. You're gonna get around 100 amp hours every single time. Sometimes we'll get all the way up to 104 amp hours. Sometimes we'll get 99, but there is more capacity that we can't access because the BMS is limiting it. So that means if I connected a different BMS that only uses voltage alone, I should be able to get a lot more capacity. And that's what the forum member did, and he got 120 amp hours. So these cells are actually new. But then I started watching my older videos where I was testing the first EG4 server rack batteries, and the 24 volt model pulled exactly 200 amp hours. So I'm thinking all of these server rack batteries, they have pretty much the same looking BMS, and they all have a DC to DC converter, they have a shunt and everything else, so I'm thinking there's obviously a coulometer for cycling. And this one has it. And I totally forgot that EG4 was like that because that was years ago. That was a long time ago. Something I've noticed with these server rack batteries is they pull exactly how much they're rated for. Typically with most lithium iron phosphate packs, I'll pull 3, maybe upwards of 6% more than its advertised capacity. But with these, for some reason or another, they pull exactly what they're rated for. And then I tested all these other server rack batteries and they had the same issue. So I think this one does, and I totally forgot. A lot of the server rack batteries do not have the fancy BMS with the DC to DC converter and all this. Typically, they just have a voltage controlled one. And typically those don't have communication, so I should have thought that this was just like the other more expensive ones. For the price, that is just crazy that they even have these features. That's wild. Because there's the Vatier, which is almost the same price, but it doesn't have communication. It has a really cool screen though, and I'm gonna review that in the next couple days here, but it doesn't have this type of BMS. BMS. Next, some viewers questioned if my test equipment was accurate enough. They were like, oh, electronics has a 5% tolerance? I was like, absolutely not. That is false. If I was using a shunt or battery capacity tester that had a 5% tolerance, I would throw it in the garbage. So for the last few days, I took my fluke meter, I took a shunt, and I tested everything. Also, my CBA5 Pro, it's lab calibrated a few months ago. And typically that thing's at 0.1% accuracy, and at the worst, it's 0.5% accuracy. And that unit matched my fluke meter, which also matched my shunt. The largest variance between the three was 0.1 amps. And at 100 amps with my shunt, the largest variance was 0.1 amps. Those heat up. You can't get them to too much. Even though it's a 500 amp shunt, you only want to use like 80% of its rated capacity unless they get pretty hot. That changes the resistance value. That changes obviously how many coulombs it thinks there is. And even this is like 1 or 2% accurate, and I still get 0.1 to 0.5% accuracy. They all give me the same numbers. So yeah, my test equipment is calibrated. Even the first test, that's lab calibrated equipment from West Mountain Radio. And I've never seen my fluke meter be wrong. If you have a fluke meter that's giving you the wrong numbers, please share it. I want to see your results. Having a 5% tolerance for a battery capacity test, I don't know what these people are saying, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, something that I do question is getting 127 amp hours out of these little cells. Even if you discharge to 0 volts, I just don't see that happening. You might get a few extra amp hours more, but not that much. I think at most 106 to 110 amp hours is plausible, but yeah, not 127. So I'm gonna have to ask him what he's using because that's just crazy. Anyways, moving on, we also had an issue with the Ecoworthy battery this week where these terminals, you'll see that these screws, they stick out quite a bit. On most server rack batteries, these are recessed and they're pretty flat. Or there's pieces of plastic that actually protect them. I pointed this out when I was filming the last video, but I thought, hey, no one's gonna actually run into this problem. I'm just being overly cautious. And then someone on the forum had this issue, and his cables were upside down on the negative and the positive. So they were touching the screws. So when he turned it on, he had a massive short and tons of sparks flew everywhere. I don't think most people are gonna make this mistake. Just put it on the right way and you'll have no issues. But these are more susceptible for this than the other server rack batteries available. Now, a forum member noticed that these bus bars, they do not have the ridges for expansion and contraction like all the other server rack batteries on the market. And with normal cycling, that can actually add stress to the terminal and it can hurt the cell. But there are lots of budget batteries with these bus bars without any issues. So we'll just have to see. This is not ideal, but it might not be a big issue. But someone called it out and that was a very good point. I did not notice that. Next, I tested the app. So the first time I connected, it worked perfect. But usually the homepage is wildly inaccurate. The first time I opened this up for about an hour, it said it had over 300,000 watts going into the battery. But if you press data, this one is always accurate. And this is where you can see the cell voltages. So press voltage and temperature, and then it shows you all 16 cells. And if you're doing a capacity test, the temperature sensors, you can get it at the perfect temperature for your test. Now this battery is fully charged and the voltage has settled. But we have a good deal of imbalance here already. Now, if I were to manually balance these pack and the voltages were absolutely perfect here on the app, it will not change the capacity because of what I was talking about before. The cycling is controlled by the coulometer or the shunt, so you're gonna still get 99 to like 102 amp hours and that's it. You can balance these for the next year and you're not gonna improve the capacity, just so you know. Now, even the BMS says that it has a perfect 100 amp hours. So when it measures itself, it thinks it has exactly 100 amp hours. So some of these could have shunt calibration issues. That's a possibility. You could get a 1% variance. That's totally plausible. Now, sometimes it doesn't want to connect. You just have to keep trying. Once it's connected, it works pretty well. Now, most forum members are actually cycling these every day without issue. So I think it's a pretty good battery, especially for the price, especially now that I can pull full capacity. But I'm keeping my eyes peeled. If you guys have any issues with this, or if you have a warranty claim, I want to hear your experience. If something becomes popular and really cheap, we need to find everything wrong with it because a lot of people are going to buy it and I don't want anybody getting ripped off. But a lot of people are excited for this thing because this is a game changer. The price price of this compared to other server rack batteries is crazy. So yeah, moving on, I have some other test results I have to show you. Something I did have a problem with was the newest EG4 budget server rack battery. So as I said, I started testing every server rack battery I had on hand, and this is the latest one, right? The first capacity test was 96.9. And then I tried to balance it, I charged it like absolute crazy, and then I got 98.2 amp hours, and that was with a CBA 5 Pro. Next, I figured out how this thing works with the coolant meter, and then I was like, hey, maybe this one's similar? Let's see, we need to test it. So I pulled 60 amps, the same test that I did on this, and I pulled 98.3 amp hours. So only 0.1 amp hour more than pulling 3 amps. So 60 amps or 3 amps and you're getting the same capacity, and it's under the advertised capacity. This thing's doing worse than all the other ones. And I'm testing other budget server rack batteries right now that are doing better than this one. And this one costs the most right now. And these used to pass. I've tested lots of these in the past. So I don't know why the new one is not passing. So that is concerning. I'm gonna have to do a dedicated video on this. I'm gonna keep trying to balance it or see what's wrong. And then a friend of mine is also gonna test it as well because we are very confused. Usually the EG4s do pull full capacity, so yeah. Now, if you do have an EG4 server rack battery, whether it's old or new, I want you to capacity test it and post it on the forum for everyone to see. This could be a one-off instance, but if everyone with the new ones are not pulling full capacity, that's gonna be a major issue. And the build quality of this is fantastic, so it would really suck if they have bad cells inside. But we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. In the next video, I'm gonna test the Vatier battery, and I can't wait to show you those results. But for now, I just wanna talk about these two. And yeah, this one's gonna pull 100 amp hours all the time, and this one's not passing at all. There is an issue here. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.